Hello and welcome to anyone and everyone who's decided to watch this video. At the time of this recording, we are about 2 months away from the release of the newest Transformers movie, Transformers 1. Why am I talking about this? Because as one of the multiple toys they are releasing for this movie, they are doing repaints of an Optimus and a Megatron from a long dead Transformers toy line called Botshots, a obscure Transformers toy line made to cash in on the, at the time, new trend of Bakugan that was out at the time. And I absolutely love the Botshots and was so happy to see them back. I haven't found the new ones yet at the time I'm making this video, but I just had to pull out all my old ones, as a celebration of the new ones, regardless of if I have them or not, because they're repaints of these two right here. As you can see, I actually don't have that many of them. I only had so much money as a kid, and I mean, I was buying regular Transformers along with these guys, so, you know, these are all I have right now, all I had as a kid. One day I hope to get more of at least the first year of Botshots. I kind of fell off with them with year 2 when they started doing the kind of more softer sculpts that could do the flips and the spins, and I get why they wanted to do new gimmicks with them. Although this guy right here is actually a year 2 figure, but we'll save him for last because we're going to go through these in the order I at least remember buying them in. And we will start with my first purchases from this line, and that was this free pack right here. I'm not going to pretend I remember the name. And this was right around the Dark of the Moon era for Transformers, so this was that cool point in time where Hasbro was doing multi-packs where they were like, you buy 2 and you get 1 free, which for Botshots, what a great idea, because this line is just made for you to want to buy everything. And I believe Prowl here was the freebie. That is who this is. These characters are Bumblebee, Prowl, and Sentinel Prime. And yeah, how do Botshots work? They are all these cute little old chibi vehicles, all about the size of like an inch long, maybe a little bit longer, and all of them, kind of giving away the surprise. There's basically a little game where you take them, you slam them into each other. Botshots, you shoot them because they're Botshots, and they are folded out into their robot modes, and they got these little spinners in their chests. See that? You can change it, and each spinner has numbers, and it's basically a little rock, paper, scissors game. I don't remember if the gun outpowers the fist. I think it does, so that means Prowl would win, but if they both had guns, Bumblebee would win because they got these numbers next to the guns, and Bumblebee's is higher, so he would win. And that's how the game worked, and that's probably part of the reason these only lasted 2 years, because they were trying to cash in on Bakugan, but the game is far simpler than Bakugan. But, you know, they were really fun toys regardless of the game, and I mean, I've brought it up before, I love me my little Transformers, so having ones that were like this, pretty great, pretty fun. I loved them a lot. Loved my Botshots, and these first 3 being my, again, like I said just a couple seconds ago, my first 3 are definitely the ones that got the most love. And let's look at Prowl first, put him back in car mode, get a good look at that. Basically every vehicle had a big thing on the back to support the weight of the robot, and yeah, it's a police car, and Prowl is just Barricade, because they were doing a bunch of movie designs, because they were made during Dark of the Moon times, so Prowl is just Barricade repainted into Prowl. In fact, when I was a kid, I brought these to my aunt's house, because my cousins are like way older than me, so they were all having kids around the time these came out. Well, they had kids a couple years before these came out, so they were old enough for me to feel like they were safe to play around with my toys. So I brought these Botshots, these free, plus Megatron, who we're going to talk about next, to the house to play with them, and we had some fun adventures using Jenga blocks to make like a little house for them, because I don't know how many other kids did that using Jenga blocks as makeshift play sets for your toys. Let's transform him again just for the heck of it. Yeah, that's Prowl. He's just a white barricade with a red crest, but it's fun. It's fun. It works for me. I never really questioned it, probably because I never had barricade, but this feels a lot like Prowl to me, especially because he's got a more Prowl-like face. Yeah, he's got 2 crests instead of 1, but it feels pretty Prowl-like to me. And then we can look at Bumblebee. There were many releases of this Bumblebee, as you could guess. This one has gray wheels and like a darker, more almost not gold, but like gold-ish yellow. I actually really like this. I mostly got this pack just because it was free in 1, but I don't remember what the other Bumblebees look like now because it's been so long. But I remember looking at videos about this line and thinking, this is the best Bumblebee. Although they did later do one where they changed the face to give him the G1 battle mask, which is pretty cool, and you can kind of see the detail wrapped around his spinny block is meant to look like the front of the car, like movie Bumblebee, which that's pretty fun. That's pretty fun. Let's look at the car again. Very simple, very simple. I believe Mirage used this car shell too. I know there's a Mirage in this line, and he's a regular car, but I think he's the same car as Bumblebee. I never got Mirage, but yeah. And then here it was Sentinel Prime, who of course had to be in here because of Dark of the Moon. And man, I like if you are a Transformers kid from the time I was a Transformers kid, it's like that was the time to fall in love with Sentinel Prime, because he was in Dark of the Moon, he was in animated, it was the most prominent he's ever been. And since I brought up Transformers 1 earlier, I'm so excited to see him in that movie. I got a soft spot for Sentinel, and here he is being a little fire trucky thing like he was in the Dark of the Moon. He was that big airport fire truck. There's his hose right there. He's a lot more boxy than the truck from the movie, and he, more than any of them, has his little button drooping down, and it almost makes him look kind of like a truck version of Pete from Mickey Mouse cartoons, and he's like, hey, it's me, Sentinel Prime. Hey. Oop. I'm totally not the bad guy in the movie. Yep, good old Sentinel Prime. And you press his button. There we go. And there he is. He's movie Sentinel Prime, but he's got an animated style head, and I really like that. I like that little fusion, and you can see he's got the wheels on his arms. Let's also make him crash into somebody. Who should he crash into? Let's do Prowl again. Yeah, and 2 swords. Oh, and Prowl beats Sentinel. Take that, Sentinel. Man, if only Prowl was in Dark of the Moon, would have solved the problem easy. Let's see. But again, Sentinel is actually, I really think Sentinel is one of the cooler looking releases in this line. Maybe I'm just a little bit biased towards him, but yeah. And another cool thing about this line, it had playsets. One of the few Transformers lines to have playsets. Here is Megatron here. And the playsets were really only a year 1 thing. And I say playsets, they are launchers. So, like, Megatron, he's a tank. It's Tank Megatron based off Revenge of the Fallen. They also had a Dark of the Moon truck Megatron. Obviously, I never got that one. And there was a gray version of this Megatron. And I believe there was a gray version of this trailer, because they had, like, a big starter pack where you got Megatron's trailer, Optimus's trailer, Bumblebee, and Starscream. But I never got that pack because I liked the solo releases. And for the solo release of Megatron with trailer, they made him more of this bronzy color. And you can see he's got a thing that kind of looks like, I keep forgetting that's his button, a thing that kind of looks like the face that stuck out on the Revenge of the Fallen cannon. He's got some extra guns just to make him even more armored up, which is crazy. And he transforms the same way as everyone else. And you can see a very G1-y looking Megatron face. Is it being blurry? G1-y looking Megatron. That's some low sword power Megatron. What's his other power like? Oh, his is his stuck? Oh, there we go. 900 for gun. Okay, he's got good gun. Why is Megatron so stuck? Oh, 530 for fist. I don't remember his block being so stuck, but he's got really low sword, but I'm going to keep it with sword because I tend to keep these guys with the block. I think looks best with their overall color scheme. And let's transform him again. Yeah. And oops. Revealed that too early. His trailer. And this is a very fun thing. It looks like it could be a vehicle all by itself. It's got extra missile pods. It's got tons of wheels here. It's got the fusion cannon on top. And if you press down on that fusion cannon, it pops open into a little playset. And also you can fold out these null rays. And look at that. I like this little base. It's got some nice paint inside there. And if we fold Megatron back up into his tank mode, we can put him on the ramp and slide him back. And we press the cannon again. Let's actually put a victim, Bumblebee, here. Press the cannon again, and boom! Yeah. It's not the most powerful thing ever, but it's fun, and you can... And it's... Yeah, we can just leave that loaded out. And you got a nice little base to put your guys around. Just have them walking around doing stuff. You can have Megatron sitting here. And with this one, you can slide them like in here, which was something I would like to do. As I would usually like have guys here, have them around. Just playing, having a little fun at this little Decepticon base. Just having them hanging around. And it was just so fun seeing Megatron have his own trailer fortress. After years of that always being an Optimus thing, it was just very interesting to see Megatron having one of his own. Let's launch him again. Whee! Look at that. He just went so far. And put him in robot mode again. And then we'll put these guys all to the side. And speaking of trailer bases, after I got Megatron, I then got Optimus. And Optimus from a distance looks really fun. I love how it's just a bulked out version of his trailer. He does not... See, he does not stay in as well as Megatron, because if we fold the trailer base back up for Megatron, Megatron clips in both here at the bottom, but then again with these tabs at the top, whereas Optimus does not. He only tabs in here at the bottom. So if you pick his base up by the trailer, he falls out and looks like a little dummy. Little dummy Prime. Oh, dummy, dumb Prime. And let's just quickly put him back in truck mode. Optimus is also one of the more hair trigger ones of the ones I own anyway. And I love this take on Prime's truck mode. He's clearly based on the movie truck, but he's got the little trailer on the back, which is obviously just his support block for standing up and holding all the gears. But I like seeing Prime be one of these kinds of trucks that has the trailer integrated into it. I don't think we'll ever get an Optimus, like a normal standalone Optimus in a show that's like this, but it'd be kind of cool if we did. And again, you can put him back in the trailer, and he looks really cool like this. I like driving him around. And something else I realized why Megatron's thing wasn't locking in earlier when I was holding it, I completely forgot about, is that along with the cannon on top, the bumper also opens it up. So if you want to do the crash and play for the bases, you can. So let's try and get Optimus to crash into his own trailer. Yeah, there we go. And we'll look at Optimus first for a second. Here he is. He's Optimus Prime. That's what Optimus Prime looks like. He's got wheels on his sides. He's got a nice Optimus Prime head. Very nice version of his face sculpt. He's got the G1 yellow eyes from the toy. At least this version is. Of course, Optimus also has many, many repaints. There was even a Nemesis Prime in this line. They did Nemesis Prime in Wave 1. That was like one of the free packs as well. It was like Nemesis Prime and Acid Storm. And I don't remember who the other one was. I mean, I never bought that set. I chose to get the Autobots instead, which I think I made the right choice. But, yeah, Optimus, he's cute. He's a cute little Optimus. He's got some glossy blue, very glossy blue, very prominent, all gray in his molding, but got good paint. See, Optimus is one of my, like I said, my Optimus, out of all of them, really likes to pop up. And here's his trailer. It folds out like the G1 trailer, of course, and then it's got these little cannons. And it is also a fun little playset. He's got the, the drone that Prime G1 trailers do. And you can kind of... This one doesn't work as well as a playset as Megatron's does, because it's like... This area here isn't big enough to hold Botshots. As you can see, Bumblebee's feet go into the runway. But, I mean, it's not really meant to be a playset. It's meant to be a launcher, but it's fun to use it as a playset. So you can put Optimus in, press the drone, and he can go woo! And if my hand wasn't in the way to catch him, he would have fallen off the desk. But, yeah. Megatron's trailer is better than Optimus's, unfortunately, but it is nice to have an Optimus trailer. And there were 2 more of these types of launchers, the little trailer playset ones. I don't have them. They did one for Ironhide and Starscream. And I mean, like, one for Ironhide, one for Starscream, not like one that was for the both of them. And I don't have those ones, unfortunately. I always wanted them. I think the Ironhide one is just a remold of the Optimus one, though, but they replaced the cannons with buzzsaws, and it's like a gray, but like not this gray, like a darker gray, which is different for Ironhide. And then Starscream was like in movie colors, like, so it was like movie Starscream colors, and his was similar to Megatron's, but it was definitely a different mold. And I would have loved to have gotten those playsets, but I didn't. But I do have a Starscream. I have a Starscream and I have a Lockdown. I had bought these 2 at the same time, I believe. Again, it's been over a decade since these were out, so, you know, I'm trying to remember. I think I bought these 2 at the same time. And look at this little Starscream. Look at this little chubby jet. Look at him. He's so chunky. How is he even flying? He's a little chunky Starscream. He's been eating too much, Starscream. Gotta work on your diet. And he's got wheels so he can roll around. And he's a cute little screamer and pretty fun. Obviously tons of repaints. They did all the Seekers from him. I think Jetfire also uses his mold, or maybe Jetfire uses Power Glides, because I know there's a Power Glide in this line. No, I think Jetfire is just Starscream, but they changed the robot head. And then we got Lockdown. Heck yeah, Lockdown. I love seeing Lockdown. Huge Transformers animated fan. Animated made Lockdown. And it was great to have another Lockdown toy at the time when this came out. I was really happy to see him. He's got the exposed engine. His windows are okay. I didn't bring that up earlier. My Bumblebee and Prowl have these little chips in their windows because of how often they have popped open from the love of play. I'm actually shocked Lockdown hasn't gotten any chipping on his windshield. And let's put him and Starscream against each other. Bam! Oh, Starscream getting him open like that. And actually, let's look at Starscream first. Let's save the coolness of Lockdown for later. And here's Starscream, admittedly not my favorite looking. Can't even hold him right. Not my most favorite looking of the set, but you know, he's nice. He's got a nice little smiles. He's got his arms, his little fin arms, and he's got his feetsies, his little feetsies. He's got a little bit of red in there because you know, he's Starscream. He's gotta have that. Okay, whatever. That was Starscream. And Lockdown. Look at him. He looks so good. Look at him. Look at that smirky smirk on his face. Oh my gosh, and he's got some extra paint here on his hands and his knees. I love it. I love some Lockdown. He's good old spiky Transformers animated bounty hunter guy, and we're gonna start putting the transformed ones in the back. And we will move on to another free for 2 pack, free pack, where one of the figures was free, and I know which one was free. It was Ironhide. Actually, no, I think I'm actually wrong about that. I think it was Brawl. I think that was part of the gimmick for these, is that the free one was the one who was on the other faction. Let's actually get Megatron's base more in shot here. Just for the Ironhide. Don't Ironhide. Please. Let's just keep everything in camera for a little bit, shall we? The point is, this was another set where you were paying for 2 figures, but you were getting free. Really great deal. I kind of wish... Oh my gosh, it'd be so cool if Hasbro brought this back for their more modern toy lines, which I guess they kind of do for the Buzzworthy, or I guess now it's just Target 4-packs, because they include a Voyager, but they charge at the price of 4 Deluxes. But whatever. We got Shockwave, Brawl, and Ironhide. Let's start with Ironhide. He is translucent. He is translucent black, smoky black, clear plastic. Because Botshots loved doing clear variants of people, and he is, of course, a big old pickup truck like he is in the movies. It's movie vehicle mode, G1 robot mode, with a lot of these characters, and I like it. I mean, I admittedly would have liked a non-translucent Ironhide. I'm not the biggest translucent plastic fan, but these translucent Botshots, they feel pretty alright. They feel pretty hefty. Movie Ironhide with a giant spoiler on the back of his truck, that's a little bit weird, but oops, keep popping him open early. But he needs it to stand. Dang it. He needs it to stand up in robot mode. Speaking of robot mode, great Ironhide, great. Here he is. He's one of the most bland looking ones, honestly. Partly because of translucent plastic, because he's got no paint apps aside from his face. I kind of remember Ironhide being my least favorite when I was a kid playing with these guys, but still glad I had him. Look at that face. It's the face being like, Prime! We gotta stop the Decepticons! Because it's G1 Ironhide, and that's what G1 Ironhide sounds like. Arrgh. Anyway, and he came with these tank guys, Shockwave and Brawl. Let's look at Shockwave first. Very nice shade of purple on Shockwave. These bright, bright silvers. I guess this is trying to go for Dark of the Moon Shockwave's tank mode. Even though that was a crazy Cybertronian tank, and this tank feels very Earth-based. And it's got the double cannons. It's got the 2 hatches so people can drive him. It's got the thingies in the front. You pop it open, and you got a Shockwave that, honestly, this looks less like Dark of the Moon Shockwave and more like a precursor to the Bumblebee movie Shockwave. Is this the secret concept for Bumblebee movie artwork Shockwave design? I doubt it, but it's a Shockwave. It's a good little Shockwave. And I'm not the biggest Shockwave fan, but I did appreciate having this. This is one of my first Shockwave toys ever, the other one being my Cyberverse Dark of the Moon Shockwave. And, you know, I had my fun with him. I definitely did plenty of playtimes with my Botshots. I definitely did. So this Shockwave, you know, he's seen his time, and I like my little Shockwave tanky boy. And then we got this Brawl, and ooh, I love this Brawl. I don't get where this color scheme came from, the blue and gold, but I love it. Maybe it's inspired by the Tankor repaint of Legends Brawl we got in the Revenge of the Fallen line. But then why is this just not called Tankor? Oh, and another thing I gotta bring up with this Brawl mold, near the end of the line, they did these 5-packs of year 1 molds. That they did 4 of them. So it was like they repainted them, and we got the Aerial Bots, the Stunticons, Arctic Autobots, and Fire Decepticons. Which, you know, I love those ideas. There were 2 canceled packs of the Combaticons and the Protectobots. I don't think we ever saw what the Combaticons were going to look like, but we have seen some of the Protectobots, if not all 5 of them. And one of the things you're thinking about is, wait a minute, Groove is in that Protectobots. How do you do a motorcycle in this line? They didn't. They were gonna do Brawl, and I love that. I wish those were released. I want our motorcycle boy remade as this big heavy metal tank here, this big piece of destruction. I love that. I love the idea of turning little old motorcycle Groove into a tank. Would have been amazing. And also, this is just one of the coolest molds. And I dropped him. This is just one of the coolest molds in the line. In fact, like, because it is obviously Movie Brawl, which is like the coolest tank mode in all of Transformers. It's got the cow catchers and everything. And I just really appreciate this from an engineering standpoint. Like, let's look at this. Press his button. And, like, look at that. Look at that. The turret sliding open. Maybe I shouldn't be as impressed with that as I am, but I really like that. I like that they were able to make that work. It's very fun. And then we got his robot mode, and look at him. He's also screaming. He's like, roar! But he's also got like a mustache, like a big wrestle man. He's a big manly man Brawl. And again, this blue and gold looks really great. And the blue actually matches the blue of his sticker there, too. Really had a lot of fun with this Brawl. In fact, let's just ram him again. Shockwave. Sacrifice yourself! Dang it. Yep, that's a Brawl, and I like this Brawl. And then my last bot shot ever, Sunstorm, who is a Series 2 release, because in the Series 2 waves they would do, because bot shots were released in waves of 5 usually, they would do 4 of the new spinny flippy ones, and then a translucent one of a Series 1 mold. And this is my only Sunstorm toy to this date. Maybe one day I'll get more toys of him. But Sunstorm's actually a little defective on mine. If I pick him up, his feet came out, which is interesting. He holds himself down, though. I can still roll him around and play with him as a vehicle. But if I wanted to pick him up and fly, he'll have his feet dangling out. But at this... I don't know why his feet aren't tabbing into the mechanism. But at the same time, I can do this with him and make him look like he's taken off. That's pretty fun. That's pretty fun. But he's just a little orange translucent Cheeto with some nice marshmallow wheels. And you know what? That's okay. He's got a different face from Starscream. Let's grab the Screamer from her back. He's a much happier man than Starscream, even though Starscream's pretty happy. And oh, you can see the numbers there on his wing. And you know what? He's just a little guy. He's just a little fiery guy. A little fiery guy, Sunstorm. And yeah, that's about all I gotta say. That to be honest, I wasn't really saying much. It's just doing what I sometimes do, just rambling on about toys and how much I really like the Botshots. Really cool line. Really hope to get those new repaint re-releases they did for Transformers 1. Would be cool if they did more, but I'm just glad they're doing them at all. I really like the Botshots. I really like small Transformers, and so that's about all I have to say. I think I've rambled on enough. Thank you all for watching, and see you guys around.